Hey, do you feel like you practice a lot, but you go to record an idea or a song and it doesn't sound right at all? There's no feel, no energy, you're clearly doing something wrong, but you can't seem to figure out what it is? It's simple. You need to get your rhythm chops up, and you definitely clicked on the right video today because I want to show you how you can quickly get your chops from a loose rhythmic feel to a deep pocket and a clear sense of rhythm in both your lead and rhythm playing. So you'll no longer be guessing if your rhythm is on and how to lock in with a feel, whether it's funky syncopations or behind the beat feels. Trust me, anyone can do it as long as you know how to break it down and how to practice it. So let's start with level 1. First, I want to quickly tell you the best way to approach every rhythmic exercise. It starts with reading the notes and knowing exactly what notes you're playing, and yes, I'm talking about rhythmic notes, not pitches. When you see a rhythm, the only way you could truly lock it in is to know exactly where each note belongs. I start with what I think of as goalposts. Identify which beats land on a downbeat and focus on locking in with those beats first, since they're the strongest and easiest to feel. And then from there, we want to count the rhythm out loud and see if we could play it slowly and accurately. In this 16th note rhythm, we use the syllables 1, E, and Especially for complex rhythms, it could be helpful to ignore the notes and just play the rhythm with muted strings. This can help your ear focus purely on the rhythm instead of being distracted by all the nuances in making a note or chord sound good. Finally, when it comes to developing a good pocket or feel, we want to internalize the beat. So put your metronome on 2 and 4. You could do this by cutting your tempo in half and simply counting those metronome clicks as beats 2 and 4. And it's great to try rhythm parts as both a straight and swing feel, so you could truly understand and have a strong command over both of these feels. Okay, so now that we know how to get the most out of any rhythm exercise, level 1 is basically where every player starts when they think about rhythm. The feel starts with steady 16th notes in the right hand, while the left hand mutes or plays a chord to create this rhythm. Just like I mentioned earlier, it's good to start by locking in the 16th note strum with muted notes and feel the groove alone. Listen for those goalposts. Are your downbeats lining up with the click? Don't even try the chords unless you can get the rhythm alone in the pocket. When you bring in the chords in the left hand, be aware of the hammer-on right there. It certainly tripped me up a lot at first, keeping a steady right hand rhythm, but lifting it away to allow a hammer-on and keep it in time. It almost reminds me of tapping your head and rubbing your stomach. So make sure not to gloss over that detail. Alright, now this is an interesting part that brings out some of the subtle nuances of fingerpicking in rhythm as well as sliding in rhythm, but the main focus to start is bringing a solid backbeat feel by tapping the guitar on beats 2 and 4. There's a lot of ways to approach a percussive tap, and certainly whether you're using an acoustic or electric guitar determines your technique. But for electric, you generally want to make it a rather light tap on the strings to make sure you're not pushing the strings into the pickups each time you tap. After you get comfortable with the coordination of tapping in between notes you're playing, you want to lock in your rhythm. The best way to really hear if you're on time is to record yourself and listen back. I use Logic, but any DAW will do, of course. While you're developing your ear, you can even look at the sound waves directly and literally see if you're rushing or dragging certain notes, and of course, adjust your playing accordingly. Don't get overly analytical with your eyes, always lead with your ears and the overall feel. There's a reason producers program in mistakes and imperfect timing. It has a feel, and imperfection brings a sense of being human into the music, which we always want to a certain degree. Okay, so this is kind of 2 exercises in one. The first part is simply warming up our right hand fingers and focusing on creating a steady, even rhythm. The second part is using ghost notes to establish a mean groove. A ghost note is simply a note that is struck but has no pitch value, just like with the funky strumming we did earlier, except it's just one string that we hit to provide that extra rhythm. Our thumb moves between the 2 bass strings, E and A, while our fingers stay on the middle 3 strings, and only occasionally we play these ghost notes just to give a little more to the groove on the guitar alone. This particular rhythmic approach is inspired by classic bossa nova patterns, which commonly alternate the bass notes between the root note and the 5th while syncopating the chord on top. And if you're not familiar with music theory, the 5th is always on the same fret up from the A string. This level is all about that funky syncopation while mixing chords and single note lines. No longer can you rely on your steady funky strumming, scratching every string. We need to really feel the rhythmic subdivisions here. So it helps to remember the ways we break down and practice rhythm parts. Figure out what notes line up with the downbeats and be able to count while playing the example. In the first measure, beats 1 and 3 have a note, and this tricky syncopated section in the second measure, we want to make a mental note that this second chord falls right on the second beat. So no matter how tricky that part is, if we start by just making sure that middle chord connects with the click on beat 2, we're making progress, baby. And then we count 1 E and 2 E and And if you can't count and play it at the same time, you don't have that rhythm down. And I always slow this shit down like crazy. But that's where you gotta start, always, man. Start slow. Know the exact rhythm you're trying to play and count along so you know for sure whether you're playing it right or not. Now, before I shock you with the really difficult level 5, make sure to download the 30-day Rhythm Guitar Challenge. It comes with interactive tabs and play-along videos, as well as the structured exercises that gradually get more difficult and are guaranteed to improve your groove and your pocket. You can download all of this on patreon.com/nastysoul. That way you finally have the perfect files and videos to play along to in the rhythm block of your daily practice routine. And in case you want to spice up your chords, I also made a Tom Misch-inspired rhythm guitar course where I break down dozens of chords and organize them in chord scales to make it easy to apply them and add that juice to your playing. Of course, you could also have access to this one on Patreon, so make sure to check it out. Alright, so this is the final frontier when it comes to rhythm, when we're so in tune with rhythm that we understand how to play behind the beat. First, we definitely need to be able to play on the beat, then we can experiment with the feel of playing behind the beat. I mentioned earlier how you want to try these rhythm exercises both straight and in a swing feel, and this is actually really important before you try playing behind the beat. Swing is definitely a feel that fluctuates from song to song, and it's very much something that you need to feel. Playing behind the beat is a little more ambiguous and open-ended when it comes to the feel because there's so many ways to play behind the beat and even more ways to sound bad and off time when trying to do it. So try to play this one perfectly in time, then try to play behind the beat, and remember it's just these notes that are behind the beat, so you're still connecting your rhythm with the bass drum and the snare. I hope these tips are helpful, and if you learned a thing or two in this video, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. You know it by now, still around 70% of you awesome people are not subscribed to this channel, and you constantly keep missing content like this, so make sure to change that right now by clicking that little red button. You won't regret it, baby. And if you finally want to take your rhythm playing to a professional level, make sure to download all the files I especially made for you on Patreon right now. As always, the link is in the description below. I'll see you very, very soon again in the next video. Keep jamming and stay nasty.